This is CBC Winnipeg News.
Good evening, thanks for joining us. Handouts at a school-hosted powwow celebration has some parents upset. The booklets contain sexually explicit materials and were passed out with condoms to students, some in elementary school. It has parents demanding answers and accountability. CBC's Chelsea Kemp reports.
Mountain View School Division parents say this booklet, along with condoms, were handed out to kids at a celebration powwow last week. The Safer Sex Guide includes images of cartoon animals in sexually suggestive poses, with information on sexually transmitted infections and consent, as well as slang for some sex acts. Crystal Hemniuk says someone tried to give the booklet to her 8-year-old son.
He was really upset. Like he really feels distrust in the school. I think he just, he couldn't understand why they would be giving them bad stuff.
The school division and Brandon's Sexuality Education Resource Center have apologized for the incident. Superintendent Susan Cotton spoke at last night's school board meeting.
We will be talking about also next steps that we can take as a division to earn back the trust that we know that many of you have felt has been broken through this situation.
The Resource Center's Caitlin White says staff have been to previous powwows. They were anticipating speaking with older teens and adults, as they had in the past, not younger students.
Those are not resources that were intended for like a younger audience. So they certainly were not handed out by CERC staff. And we really apologize for any of the materials intended for adults ending up in the hands of any young children.
Mom Melina McCann says, well, she's all for sexual health education, and only just powwow was not the right place.
Most vendors I always hear of, like at powwows, is like crafting supplies, traditional supplies, and like food vendors, but never sex ed.
Homniuk says she wants to see accountability taken so it doesn't happen again.
Why were kids not either taken away from that situation, like put back on the buses and sent back to school, or was the vendor not asked to leave if they couldn't control who they were handing out their stuff to?
The incident is under investigation by Mountain View School Division and CERC. They say more information will be available for parents soon. Chelsea Kemp, CBC News, Brandon.
Outreach groups say the city's encampment bans are making it harder to help people, and in some cases making it unsafe. 6 months ago, the city brought in restrictions, banning encampments near many areas, including parks and playgrounds. But outreach organizations say their new mapping tool shows these protocols have left nearly the entire city off limits. CBC's Cameron McLean reports.
Tents have become an increasingly common sight in Winnipeg. Last November, Winnipeg City Council voted for new restrictions on where encampments could be. Advocates warned the enforcement protocol would put vulnerable people at greater risk by forcing them to move and limiting their options to relocate. On Tuesday, a coalition of those groups unveiled a map showing the parts of the city covered by the new rules.
We really see that there's nowhere in the city of Winnipeg where it's okay to camp, according to this policy and protocol.
Staff at Resource Assistance for Youth created the map using open source government data. The bylaw prohibits encampments within 50 meters of places like schools, playgrounds, and daycares, and 30 meters from transit shelters, bridges, and docks. Ray's executive director Kate Schoberg says even she was surprised by the extent of the restrictions.
I didn't expect to see red over the entire map of the city. I expected there to be more spaces that wouldn't have been captured by these measurements.
Outreach workers say forcing people in encampments to move makes the job of supporting them harder. Sunshine House executive director Levi Foy says they have lost contact with clients after encampment clearances.
Now they might stay in an encampment maybe 1 or 2 days a week, or they'll bounce, and they'll bounce around to different encampments so that they won't get caught. So they'll have to protect themselves because it's not the same community that they had built in previous encampment environments.
The situation is even more dangerous for those who identify as women or LGBT, says Lori English of the West Central Women's Resource Center.
Even without the city coming in with bylaw officers or whatever the case, it's forcing people to feel that they need to move in order to keep themselves safe.
Mayor Scott Gillingham defended the restrictions, saying the city is selective about where and when it enforces the bylaw.
And frankly, there's many members of the public who are calling on me to take an even more forceful enforcement approach. So I think our encampment policies and protocols are a balanced approach right now.
And the mayor says he has no plans to change the restrictions anytime soon. Cameron McLean, CBC News, Winnipeg.
The first major development in Winnipeg's Centerport South could become the largest industrial complex in the city's history. A local investment firm has applied to build a 700-acre industrial park near the airport. The project, called Catalyst Park, is believed to be the largest industrial development ever proposed in Winnipeg. The proposed development comes after the city decided to install water and sewer services in the Centerport South area in 2022. Mayor Scott Gillingham says it's key to the city's future.
I want to see Centerport South developed. It represents high-paying jobs. It represents growth in Winnipeg's economy, and most excitingly, growth in Winnipeg's sky economy.
The city says it's twice the size of the development of St. Boniface Industrial Park nearly 50 years ago. RCMP are no longer the only game in town when it comes to keeping the streets safe in Selkirk. Drivers will soon have another agency monitoring their behavior on the roads. CBC's Gavin Axelrod explains.
I'm here in Selkirk, where they will be using their community safety officer to help with traffic enforcement. Mayor Larry Johansson says it's all in an effort to keep the community safe and free up RCMP resources.
This isn't a vendetta or anything like that. This is only a tool to help keep our city safer. As far as speeding goes and traffic infractions, don't do the crime and everybody will get along just fine.
The city of Selkirk says its community safety officer will monitor for speeders, seatbelt use, enforce school zones, and eventually hand out tickets under the Highway Traffic Act. Johansson says the CSO's warning and radar monitoring period wraps up June 15th. Then the full enforcement will begin. He says Selkirk will also establish radio communications so the CSO can be in touch with RCMP.
This will keep them in direct contact with the RCMP in case an issue arises that, we do need backup, we need the RCMP, or vice versa.
Kathy Valentino is president of the Association of Manitoba Municipalities. She says a growing number of communities are using CSOs. She says while the program is expensive, local governments can choose how they deploy the officers. Valentino also says they're another tool to help with public safety priorities.
They are using it to tailor a need in the city of Selkirk, the CSO program. I can tell you in the city of Thompson, we use it to address public safety issues in our downtown area and intoxication.
People living in Selkirk say they're in support of the move.
I think it's a good idea. It keeps the regular police force available for emergencies, so it's a good idea.
The city has also budgeted for another community safety officer who could be hired within a matter of months. RCMP say officers will continue to enforce traffic rules inside the city. Gavin Axelrod, CBC News, Selkirk.
A 37-year-old man who's been missing since December has been found dead. RCMP say Blair Coles was last seen on Manitoba Avenue in Selkirk on Christmas Eve. Mounties say his body was found on Brady Road north of the perimeter on Saturday. They do not believe the cause of death is criminal, but it does remain under investigation pending the results of an autopsy. Fire season is back and underway in northern Manitoba. A fire is burning out of control near Chimawawin Cree Nation, also known as Easterville. That fire is estimated to be about 1.5 square kilometers in size, according to the Manitoba Wildfire Service. Chief Clarence Easter says provincial fire crews are in town and the community is not currently under threat, but they're taking precautions. He says winds today are pushing the fire away from the community. All right, let's bring Riley in now. And Riley, while these warmer temperatures are really nice, we are seeing that increased risk of fire in many of these areas.
Yeah, due in part, Brittany, because of the hot, dry weather we're going to experience across a good chunk of the province as we get through not just the next couple of days, but the next several days, and a bit of wind into the mix as well. So this is a look at the fire danger rating as we get through the day on Wednesday. High to extreme for a good chunk of south central and southwestern Manitoba, and starting to get into that moderate range through some parts of central and northern Manitoba. So we'll have to keep an eye on the situation as we get through the next several days here with some of these hot temperatures that we'll be experiencing, not just in southern Manitoba, but into parts of the north as well, looking at temperatures close to 30 degrees as we get toward the weekend here. So this afternoon, 28 degrees in Winnipeg, 32 in Winkler, 32 in Melita, 26s, 27s into the Parkland through the afternoon hours. Bit cooler along the Hudson Bay coast. North to northeasterly flow could mean some fog development as we get through the night tonight. Near zero visibility at times in places like Churchill, for example, as we get into the early morning hours into Wednesday. Overnight tonight, 15 degrees in Winnipeg, a light easterly wind through the night tonight. Nice and sunny tomorrow, 16 to start, and looking at temperatures around 28 degrees as we get into the afternoon. Parts of northern Manitoba looking at temperatures like these, Brittany, as we get toward the weekend. We'll break it all down when I come back.
All right. Thank you, Riley.
You're welcome.
They say their designs were stolen and sold online. Why one local Indigenous-owned clothing company is now fighting back. That's next. A local Indigenous-owned clothing company is fighting back after discovering their designs were taken and sold online. Indigenous Nations apparel company found more than 20 of their designs on the fast fashion giant Shein's website. Now the company is seeking legal advice and asking for their designs to be removed. CBC's Mike Arsenault has the details.
The girl represents murdered and missing Indigenous women and girls.
Indigenous Nations Apparel Clothing, or INAC, sells locally designed Indigenous-themed fashion in CF Polo Park. The company has been in business for 5 years, but CEO Michelle Cameron says there was no time to celebrate. Customers spotted her designs being copied and sold on Shein's website.
I always say that we're a company of purpose, and we have a lot of meaning that goes into all of our designs. So for a company like Shein to come in and take our designs and just plunk it on their website, it was just like, it was really disgusting, actually.
Shein is an online retail giant that specializes in fast fashion. Cameron says more than 20 of her designs are being sold on the website without her permission. INAC says months of hard work go into their designs.
They took probably 4 years worth of our designs because every year we come up with a new one, and that's the one they took. And they took it, not just the design, but they used our own models and from our own photo shoot, and they just took it and put it on their site.
It's like a light around the eagle.
Jackie Travers is an Ojibwe visual artist in Winnipeg, and she's no stranger to art theft. In 2024, her designs were stolen and put on Orange Shirt Day t-shirts, then sold online ahead of the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. She says there's not much artists can do to protect their work.
You can't even watermark your work to protect it. They're just going to take the watermark off. So you're really, it's a battle you can't win.
Travers says the rise of AI has made it even easier for people to steal her designs. The constant stealing makes her conflicted about sharing her artwork.
If it gets overly popular, it means it's going to get stolen, right? And then you're like, well, I don't want to post that. But then when you create your work to share it.
Cameron reached out to Shein. An email response came back with a link to where she could file a complaint. Now she's talking to a lawyer.
If you truly want to have that product on your website, contact the artist first.
A spokesperson for Shein replied to CBC in an email saying they've removed the items from the website and are launching an investigation. Mike Arsenault, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Manitoba's premier is stepping into the separatism debate rocking Alberta. Wab Kinew told his Alberta counterpart, Danielle Smith, to press pause on her separation referendum. We're joined by the CBC's Ian Fraze in our newsroom. So, Ian, this happened at the Western Premier's meeting. What did Wab Kinew say?
Brittany, he disagreed with Alberta Premier Danielle Smith publicly. Now, Smith was talking about her frustration that a judge squashed a petition for a referendum because the government failed to consult Indigenous people. Smith said that duty to consult needs to be reviewed by the court, prompting Kinew, who's Indigenous, to say this.
All right, I'd like to respond. So I think we know that is not correct, a lot of what you just said there, Premier Smith. It is not up to the petition gatherers to fulfill the duty to consult. It is up to you as the Alberta government to fulfill the duty to consult. And in this case, when there's clearly going to be an impact on well-established existing hunting and fishing rights by putting up an international border, if some would have their way.
Albertans are scheduled to vote on separation in October because Smith put that question on the ballot, but Kinew says there's no reason to rush given the momentum nationwide to get mega projects built.
And I would say now is the time to work together. Why don't we hold off on this referendum talk for a year or two and see if we get these pipelines under construction?
So closer to home, Ian, the NDP government wants to make it harder for youth to get their hands on flavored vape products. What does the government have in store?
Brittany, the province wants to limit the sale of most flavors to adult-only stores like cannabis shops. Now, youth are already banned from buying vape products, but some of them are still able to get their hands on vape products fairly easily. The Manitoba Lung Association says this proposed law won't change that.
We know already youth are acquiring their vaping products either through social circles or through online opportunities due to the lack of legislation in acquiring those products. We also know from a Health Canada report just from last spring that it shows vape shops are actually non-compliance rates are at over 43%. So we need to tighten that, obviously.
This bill applies to vape sales in urban areas. The health minister says there are protocols at rural businesses to make sure kids don't have access to these products. Brittany.
All right, thank you. That's CBC's Ian Fraze. The longtime president of the Manitoba Métis Federation has been acclaimed in the organization's upcoming general election. David Chartrand was the only person to put his name forward to lead the organization. The MMF represents more than 60,000 Red River Métis. Chartrand has held that role since 1997, running unopposed the last 4 terms. He's the longest serving president in the Federation's history. There are 22 positions open in the election, and 6 incumbents are running unopposed. All right, Riley's back in. And Riley, you were back to be a newsroom favorite with this forecast. You have to take it sometimes when the weather's not so great, but right now you're a superstar.
Yeah, and a very good stretch of hot weather is what we're looking at, Brittany. I mean, certainly we could use some moisture. Don't have that in the forecast, but we are looking at temperatures staying well above seasonal for almost the balance of the 7-day forecast, which I'll get into a little bit later here. Starting with a look at satellite and radar, and there have been a couple of little pop-up thunderstorms. If you paid close attention around St. Anne, for example, and into parts of southeastern Manitoba, some of those little lightning strikes, not totally unexpected through the afternoon today. By and large, southern Manitoba, most of Manitoba and Saskatchewan into a mainly sunny sky throughout the day today, thanks in part to a ridge of high pressure that's developed in the jet stream that will get into a bit of a blocking pattern, sort of locking it in place here as we get through the next several days. So you can see that ridge as it's formed over Saskatchewan. Low pressure to the east, low pressure to the west will really keep this in place for the next several days. And that's what's going to help drive in some of that very hot air into not just southern Manitoba, but parts of Saskatchewan and even southern Alberta, looking at temperatures well above seasonal for this time of the year. And with the jet stream arcing up above through the territories and down through Ontario, again, that's really going to keep out any moisture or any real active weather for most of the province as we get through the next several days as well. So looking at a period of very sunny and very dry conditions as we get not just through the balance of the work week, but into parts of early next week, even looking at things remaining sunny and hot, save for maybe some precipitation as we get Thursday into Friday for parts of northern Manitoba along the Hudson Bay coast. Can't rule out a few showers as we get through the next couple of days here. So you can see that ridge in the jet stream as it kind of just locks in place here as we get through the rest of the work week, peaking as we get over the weekend with some of that heat and looking at high temperatures in parts of Saskatchewan and even into western Manitoba, where we could get upwards of 34, 35, even 36 degrees in some parts of the prairie provinces as we get through the weekend here. And you can start to see this pattern starting to break down as we get early into next week, with this trough starting to nudge its way a little bit further eastward, and that will start to introduce some slightly cooler temperatures back closer to seasonal as we get toward the middle part of next week. So 28 degrees in Winnipeg tomorrow afternoon, could get closer to the 30s as we get into parts of western Manitoba. Note, Thursday, Friday could be potential record breakers for parts of southern Manitoba. Brittany, 33 degrees, and the 33s hanging around right into the weekend.
Oh, the change. Thank you, Riley.
You're welcome.
Here are some shots taken near L'Atelier as we head to break. We have much more straight ahead. Stay with us. The owner of Caspian Construction had to go to a non-bank lender for a high-interest mortgage to fulfill his legal settlement with the City of Winnipeg. CBC's Bartlett Kivas tells us how the police headquarters contractor found the money to pay up.
Armik Babakanians, the owner of Caspian Construction, transferred $28 million to a legal trust account last week, fulfilling the terms of a legal settlement with the City of Winnipeg. The city sued Caspian and dozens of other defendants in 2020, alleging fraud and deficiencies at Winnipeg's police headquarters project. Caspian settled in 2023 and had until this year to pay up. Getting the money wasn't easy. According to land titles, Babakanians had to take out a $33 million mortgage on some of his Winnipeg properties. He went with a non-bank lender, Travelers Capital in Vancouver, at an interest rate of 18%. Babakanian's lawyer said it was hard to find a better rate because the city already had a mortgage on his properties.
He could not get to the big banks, nor could he get the credit unions to take on this risk, so he went to commercial credit lenders.
Other Caspian defendants paid the city $500,000 to settle this lawsuit. The city also recovered more than $1 million in damages and fees from a separate lawsuit against former Winnipeg Chief Administrator Phil Sheagle. A Manitoba court found Sheagle accepted a bribe from Babakanians in exchange for favoring Caspian in the Police HQ construction tendering. Winnipeg Mayor Scott Gilliam says the lawsuits were worth it.
Winnipeg taxpayers have $30 million now that was theirs, that they didn't have and wouldn't have had we not gone to court to get this money.
Caspian lawyer George Orrell says he wants Winnipeggers to know his client cooperated with the city and paid up. The city had to go to court in Arizona to get Sheagle to comply with his court order. Bartlett Kivas, CBC News, Winnipeg.
CBC News has learned Liberal MP Stephen Guilbeault is resigning. The Montreal MP and former Environment Minister is expected to share the news with colleagues at the Liberal caucus meeting Wednesday. The former environmental activist had already resigned from cabinet last December after Ottawa and Alberta signed an agreement on a path forward for a new pipeline to the BC coast. The federal government is clamping down on travel and immigration from Central Africa because of the growing Ebola outbreak. As of Wednesday night at 11:59, Canada is temporarily suspending certain immigration documents for residents of the Democratic Republic of Congo, Uganda, and South Sudan. That includes people with permanent residence visas, temporary residence visas, study permits, and work permits. Canadian citizens and permanent residents who've been in affected countries in the past 21 days will be allowed to enter Canada, but must undergo health screenings. Anyone with symptoms will be transferred to hospital. Everyone else will have to self-isolate for 21 days. The new border measures under the Quarantine Act will be in place for the next 90 days. The Canadian Armed Forces has issued a new directive to its members, requiring them to disclose any personal relationships with a subordinate. The new rule is meant to avoid power imbalances among military staff. It also delivers on a recommendation made several years ago by someone you'll be seeing more of soon. The CBC's Daniel LeBlanc reports.
When the Prime Minister named former Supreme Court Justice Louise Arbour Canada's next Governor General, he pointed to her pivotal 2022 report on the Canadian military's sexual misconduct scandals.
Members of our armed forces who can serve today with greater dignity because of the report that she wrote.
The report made it clear the male-dominated culture of the armed forces needed an overhaul.
Uniformity is part of the kind of the DNA of the organization. So the integration of women has obviously not proven a success.
One of her key recommendations, ending secret liaisons between military members of different ranks or levels of authority, like the one involving Canada's former top soldier Jonathan Vance, who admitted to a long-standing hidden relationship with a subordinate.
We made the change on recommendation from Madame Arbour.
Under a directive now in effect, the more senior member in a sexual or romantic relationship must disclose it up the chain of command or face sanctions.
The onus is on the highest ranking member to disclose, first of all, and to make the case that it's a consensual relationship. What we want to make sure is that both members in that relationship are safe and that there's no fear of reprisal, there's no fear that one member's career will be affected by the other member.
Experts say the new rules are meant to protect women, who make up less than 20% of the Canadian Armed Forces.
people think twice sometimes when they know others are going to know right away about their conduct. And so hopefully that will provide another layer of protection for people in the military.
I think the way that this policy will be most effective is educating those in power about what kinds of relationships are authorized and what kinds of relationships are not.
Louise Arbour will become Commander-in-Chief of the Canadian Armed Forces when she's sworn in as Governor-General on June 8th. Daniel Leblanc, CBC News, Ottawa.
Tim Hortons is promising to hire 10,000 local workers. It's part of a plan to push back against criticism of its previous hiring practices. As Karen Pauls explains, the move comes as a former U.S. rival eyes a return to Canada.
Can I please get a dark roast, an iced coffee, and a pack of Tim's new rookie cards? Nice.
Tim Hortons has always played to its Canadian roots.
I got it. Tim Biebs.
Now, the coffee giant plans to open 80 new restaurants, renovate 400 others, and hire 10,000 local staff.
Apply today and take the first step.
It comes as Dunkin' has announced plans to open hundreds of shops in Canada.
How do you like them donuts? I'm so sorry.
I think they are going after the same consumer, a younger consumer, the cool factor. So I think that Dunkin' does represent a real threat.
The plans may also be a response to criticisms like this.
Because Tim Hortons upset a lot of people because they hired so many temporary foreign workers.
During pandemic-era labor shortages, Tim Hortons lobbied Ottawa to expand the temporary foreign worker program, but now says that's no longer necessary. We think one of the biggest misperceptions around Tim Hortons is how the temporary foreign worker program has been used. Less than 4% of team members were hired through the TFW program.
I think entry-level jobs are really hard to find right now. So I think it's great for Tim Hortons to hire like the local kids.
Youth unemployment in Canada is more than 14%.
When you have such high youth unemployment and you see jobs going to people who are not Canadian youths, any company that can address that is going to gain favorability with Canadians.
And with those trying to help young job seekers.
Just opening up the job market and having more opportunities for everybody to kind of get into that is a good sign.
Experts say it'll be a challenge for Dunkin' to come in and take on a brand that's so deeply embedded in the local community. Think Timbit Soccer or Camp Day. But they say the competition will be good for Canadian coffee lovers and workers. Karen Pauls, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Generic versions of Ozempic and similar drugs have arrived in Canada, and more are very likely on the way. They cost less and promise similar results for diabetics trying to keep their blood sugar levels in check and for others trying to lose weight. Christine Burak looks at how the generic versions measure up on safety, side effects, and cost.
For the first time, a generic version of Ozempic will be available in Canada as patent protections expire. And people are asking, is it safe? How much will it cost? Where is it being made? And is it really the same? Here's what we know. The generic works the same way. Health Canada only approves the generic if it's pharmaceutically equivalent to the brand. Both use the exact same active ingredient, semaglutide, in a once-weekly injection. But they're made differently. Think of it like cooking the same dish in different ways. Ozempic is made using a more complex recipe, starting with yeast that uses both biotech and chemistry, while generics use a simpler, all-chemistry process.
What happens with the generics, all they do is they take these amino acids and they actually physically build up like a Lego set. So it's the same molecule eventually, but it's just made differently.
They end up with the same drug. Both work in the body the same way, which means the side effects are not different. You're looking at the same GLP-1 side effect profile, so nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, constipation, they usually settle with time. And while these drugs are generally considered safe and effective, they all carry the same risk of serious, albeit rare, side effects. If anything feels different, it's not likely the medication, but likely the pen design or device, the click, the injection force, the way the dose dial turns. This part surprises people. The first generics approved for Canada are being manufactured in India in large, internationally inspected, GMP-certified facilities. At least one of the companies approved already supplies medication in Canada, the US, and Europe.
It's a global market, and this is the way that the drug supply chain works. So India has massive capacity for producing products, and it's not a surprise that that's where we're going to get the generic product from. So the answer is the vast majority of generics, or a lot of them, have some component coming from India.
So while the drug is approved here, production is happening there. We don't have exact pricing yet, but we do know how it works in Canada. If Ozempic pens cost roughly $300 to $400 a month, generic pens will eventually be much cheaper. The first generic usually lands around 75% to 85% of the brand price. One more generic entering the market can drop the prices to a half or even a third of the original cost.
So doing some quick math, depending on the lower strength you're on, that can mean that for some patients, the cost of the drug before dispensing fees and markup could be around $100 a month.
Companies say they're basically ready to launch. People paying out of pocket will probably be able to access it first, while insurers work out coverage and pricing. Meanwhile, Health Canada is still reviewing other versions of generic Ozempic. If more get approved, that could drive prices down even further.
Weather forecasting in Canada is changing, and some worry cuts to radar research could put the public at risk. We'll have more on that story after the break. Environment Canada is cutting its radar research team. Instead, it will turn to an AI hybrid weather system to help improve the accuracy of long-term forecasts. But some experts say radar is needed to assess immediate severe weather risks. Helena Mahalik reports.
We had those powerful winds move into the area.
Storm chaser Jenny Hagan relies on Environment Canada weather data while out in the field. She braves tornadoes and blizzards to capture storm images and to inform the public about weather patterns across the prairies, but says cuts to radar research by Environment Canada will make that job more difficult.
It really kind of holds us back a lot on the information that we can gather when we're out in the field in order to keep not only just ourselves safe, but the general public.
Radar provides real-time data about immediate conditions, helping Environment Canada issue warnings to the public. But its radar research team has now been disbanded, and radar technology won't be further developed. Environment Canada would not discuss staffing changes with CBC News. It says changes to radar research have been made, but it will continue to provide expertise in maintaining Canada's radar network.
But when you look at the variety of different options that U.S. ones have.
Experts say Canada's radars were already 15 years behind the capabilities of those in the U.S., and some farmers near the border say they're relying on U.S. radars instead of Canada's.
I can kind of rely on some American apps and that, but it would be nice to see the Canadian government and the Saskatchewan government invest a little bit more.
Canada will also soon be the first country to launch a hybrid AI weather model forecasting system. But experts like David Sills say this does not replace radar when it comes to the immediate risk on the ground.
We actually have done studies where we looked at what is the radar imagery that was in front of the forecaster when that tornado was missed. And a lot of times it's because the quality of the radar image is so poor that it's hard to tell that there's potential for a tornado there.
Environment Canada researchers are optimistic the AI technology will get better.
But in the future, we hope that with AI, we can improve all ranges of forecasts.
David Sills has started a letter-writing campaign urging people to ask elected officials to reverse the cuts. 8,000 letters were sent in the first 48 hours. Sills says improved detection of hail, tornadoes, and flash floods are needed to improve public safety. Helena Mahalik, CBC News, Saskatoon.
All right, Riley, and now Riley, I know we're always iffy when we start talking about the long-term forecast, anywhere more than kind of 3 or 4 days out, but those 3, 4, 5 days right now look pretty nice.
And are looking actually fairly consistent among most of the forecast modeling as well, so that gives me a little bit more confidence when I'm looking at hot temperatures sticking around. You know what? Great for a dog walk. Just keep in mind, I know Colette was kind of touching on this last night, but when we start to see some of these temperatures in the 30s, the pavement can get a little hot on the little feet of the dogs, the pads and whatnot. So keep that in mind. Lots of water, not just for you, but for the pups as well when you're out and about. So have a look at Una here. Thank you, Felice, for sending this picture in. Send your pictures. Keep sending them. Talkback at cbc.ca, and I'm sure that we'll be enjoying some relaxation in the backyard as we get through the next few days here. So 28 degrees through the afternoon tomorrow. East wind could be a little bit breezy at times. I wouldn't worry about the wind too much. I only mention that because of the fire danger. It doesn't take a lot of wind, especially when we're in hot, dry conditions like this, to really take a small situation and really turn it into something quite large and significant. So that's just my caution with the fire risk. We have heat warnings in place already through parts of south and central Saskatchewan into parts of southern Alberta, on top of severe thunderstorm watches that are in place over parts of the prairie provinces. I do expect that we'll see some of these heat warnings shifting a bit further east as we get through the next couple of days. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some of those issued for parts of southwestern Manitoba in particular as we get through the balance of the work week here. So looking at temperatures just pretty broadly here across Western Canada, looking at 33s tomorrow for Regina, Saskatoon, 35 into Minot, 34 into Fargo. Here's what happens as we advance into Thursday, looking at the potential for 36s through parts of Saskatchewan into western Manitoba. Even Thompson looking at a high of 29 degrees into Thursday, and that heat remaining in place as we get Friday into Saturday with temperatures remaining in the 30s. So prepare for a stretch of weather here of very hot and dry conditions. Overnight temperatures even 12 to 15 degrees across southern Manitoba. Could be a bit windy at times, particularly in the west overnight tonight. Single digits for much of northern Manitoba, and that fog advisory in place along the Hudson Bay coast. Looking at -2 overnight in Churchill with that north to northeasterly wind. Driving some of that moisture onshore as we get through the overnight hours. And temperatures in northern Manitoba into the 20s of the afternoon. Nice and sunny all around. 23 in Barons River, 22 through the Pas Océan into Flin Flon. Looking at maybe a few showers into Dooley Lake. And temperatures warming up close to or above the 30-degree mark, Brittany, as we get through the afternoon tomorrow across the south. And lots of sunshine for the next several days.
All right. Thank you, Riley.
You're welcome.
Every day, 9 Manitobans are diagnosed with dementia. Nearly 2/3 of people in this province have a close friend or family member living with it. And according to the Alzheimer's Society of Manitoba, those numbers are rapidly growing. This Saturday, they're hosting the IG Wealth Management Walk for Alzheimer's. CBC's Marcia Marcusa spoke with them this morning.
There's over 20,000 Manitobans that's diagnosed with dementia. And if you think about how many people it takes to be on their care team, that is so many people that are affected. You know, I think the thing to understand the most is it's not really just about memory loss. There's so many other symptoms that you need to be thinking about. So, you know, it's behavior changes, and it's, we have a list. There's 10 of them on our site that you can go to think about. I think the key, though, is that if you're worried, a lot of people, there's still a stigma involved with dementia, is not to hesitate to reach out to the Alzheimer's Society and find out, like, is this normal aging? Is this, related to something else that's going on in your brain? Or is this something I should go talk to my doctor about? Because the earlier that you can get a diagnosis, and really it's tough, but to face it and then get the support that's available for families is really so important. And that, we're the Alzheimer's Society, but the dementia isn't just Alzheimer's disease. There's so many different forms of dementia, and we support everyone right through all of the different forms, even the very rare ones as well.
I remember years ago interviewing a local family, and it was a woman and her mom had, it was called, I believe, Lewy body dementia, and it involved like almost hallucinations, and she would see things. It was very frightening for her, but it was so interesting because it was a rare form to learn more about that. When you say other signs of behavior, not just memory loss, are you talking about agitation or change in personality, or what types of other signs might there be in terms of?
Yeah, exactly. Like agitation, changes in personality, really anything kind of cognitive changes in your brain that can happen. Disorientation, if you're out and it's not your normal, like if you're kind of confused anyway about where to go,
forgetful,
that's nothing
or
to worry about. But if it's out of character, and it's not really your norm, that's when you really have to start thinking about it, and just give us a call. That's what our staff is there for, is truly, if you're worried and maybe you do have a stigma and don't want to think about it, but one call just to say, should I be really worried about this? And again, it's so much better to be able to early on kind of connect for those resources that we have available.
It's interesting because, people might have a stigma and more around it somehow, or maybe not want to go down that path, or they fear if you go down, losing, independence or whatever. There's a lot of things attached to this. But if I love that you're inviting people to call to explore, right? You know what I mean? Like if the nervous call is to the doctor, you can call the Alzheimer's Society. It's about supports and understanding and learning.
Absolutely. You really don't have to have a diagnosis, and that's what a lot of people think, to give us a call. You can be at any stage along the path, where you're truly just worried, or all the way, like maybe dementia is progressed to a point where it's not manageable in the home anymore, and is okay. Call us wherever you're at.
Yeah.
And then we can walk alongside you to listen, figure out where you're at, and then connect you with the right resources that helps you where you're at.
Quickly give me the notes on what's happening Saturday on the walk so we can invite everybody to take part if they want to come out.
Oh, well, I really encourage everyone to come. The feeling at the walk, it's hard to describe. It's powerful. It's truly my favorite day of the year. It's really community coming together, so many hugs, so much love. And really, it's just that feeling of support that's there, right from all the generations are there, and our furry family is there as well. There's music and there's face painting. And so registration, it's at Assiniboine Park, kicks off at 9 a.m.
Still ahead, we go chasing after cheese. We'll explain after the break. Plus, Riley's back with the last check on our forecast.
Thought I'd have a quick peek at the almanac before I leave you here because we are looking at the potential for some record-breaking temperatures as we head toward the end of the week. So today, 28 degrees in Winnipeg. The record for this day, just about 33 degrees back in 1969. Normal high for this time of the year being 22 degrees. And I highlight the record high because we could be breaking this even in Winnipeg as we get through the next few days. So 28 degrees into the afternoon tomorrow, looking at 33s Thursday into Friday. Records for those days around 34, 35 degrees. So we'll be approaching record territory as we get toward the end of the week. Temperatures feeling closer to 36, 37 toward the end of the week. And sunshine right throughout the rest of the 7-day forecast here, and temperatures staying in the 30s as we get into early next week. I have one weather picture for you. This one coming from Craig in Lee River of this little baby bear up in the tree. He says it stayed around for about 20 minutes or so and then went on its merry way.
So cute.
I know. Well, it's not a pro sports trophy, but a 3-kilo wheel of cheese sure brings out the competition, Brittany, in some people.
Okay, if you know me, I would do a lot of things for some good cheese, but this, I'm not
maybe?
so sure. Here's your daily lift. Oh my goodness.
Okay.
Okay, that's the UK's famous cheese rolling race. Thousands of people from around the world faced record-breaking heat yesterday to hurl themselves down a steep hill, yes, after a wheel of cheese.
It was fun. People need to do it. All the people that are watching here, if you live scared, you're gonna die scared. And that's the worst way to live, I think. Do it! Something like this can happen.
So happy. Honestly, I was looking forward to this. This has been a year where I wanted to do it.
This is totally bonkers, and we love it. Where else can you see people running after a cheese down a good steep hill?
Well, she's got a point there. This race is also notorious for its high risk of injury because of the extreme angle of the hill. Whoever reaches the bottom first is the winner. That cheese, by the way, is a double Gloucester that can reach speeds over 100 kilometers an hour.
I was going to say, the injuries have to be incredible. You just see people going head over heels.
I would be bruised everywhere.
Right? All for some cheese. Well, better be some really good cheese.
I hope so.
Cheese or not, we will be back here tomorrow. Have a great night.